How much should I be saving in my 30s? If you ask any financial advisor this question, odds are they're going to give you an answer that's like, it depends. Now, there is some validity to this. Everybody's situation and goals are different, so we don't want to give advice that is misleading. But at the same time, I recognize that it depends isn't very helpful. Today, I'm going to try to give you a more concrete idea of how much you should be saving as a helpful framework to think about where you are and where you want to be heading. I think a helpful range for most people in their 30s is saving somewhere between 15 and 20% of your income. Now, as soon as I say that, I can already hear myself thinking of all the caveats I want to add because it doesn't apply to everybody, but here's why I think it makes the most sense for most people. Now, obviously, there are millions of different situations out there, but if you would self-identify as someone with a pretty standard situation, you're somewhere in the middle. Steady job and a general plan to retire sometime in your 60s. On the left side of the extreme, we have people who inherited millions of dollars when they turned 18 or perhaps sold a business at a young age for a lot of money. They probably don't need to save as much. And then on the right, we have people who maybe didn't start saving until later in life, or perhaps they want to retire really early. Or perhaps they want to have a really inflated lifestyle and have multiple houses or drive a bunch of nice cars. They're going to need to save a lot more money. But for most people who are starting young, in their 30s, saving 15 to 20% of your income is probably going to make a lot of sense. Now, if you're just getting started with retirement savings and you're in your early 30s, 15% is probably a good target to aim for. But if you're in your late 30s or early 40s and you're just getting started, you're going to need to save up more to make up for lost time and should probably aim closer to that 20% or higher. Now, saving 15 to 20% of your income is helpful for two reasons. First, it allows you to set aside significant amounts of money, which can then grow and compound for decades. Now, this is going to be the money that you're going to live off of, which will allow you to stop working, but you also need to account for inflation over that time. And second, it forces you to live below your means. Think about it. If you're saving 15 to 20% of your income, that means you're living off of 80 to 85%, not including taxes. And this means it'll be easier to cover your lifestyle in retirement because your lifestyle is based off of living off of less money. And this is what is meant by living below your means and why it's the ultimate skill for long-term financial success. Now, if even saving 15% feels like it's way out of reach right now, I get it. Life is expensive and it can be hard to cover your costs, save enough for retirement, and actually enjoy life. So here are some tips to help you get closer. Put your savings on autopilot. Use your workplace retirement plan like a 401k to help make automatic savings easier. One of my favorite things about the 401k is that they take the money out before you get paid into your bank account. And that removes the psychological barrier of having to receive it into your hands and then make the conscious decision to put it in the investment account, which is a little bit painful. It's like, oh, I'm being parted. But if it's coming to you and then it just redirects into the investment instead of hitting you first, it can remove a barrier and you're kind of used to living off of less money. Increase your savings with every raise. Let's say, for example, you're only able to save 8% right now and you get a 3% raise at work. That's great. Instead of just taking that increase in pay and turning around and increasing your lifestyle by either spending more money or committing to a nicer thing, consider raising it 1 percentage point to 9. And the reason that's such a helpful strategy is because you're not having to cut back. If we're making the same amount of money all the time and we choose to save more, inherently we are spending less. But if we get a raise, and then we decide to save a little bit extra, psychologically, it's not as painful because we're giving out of more that we have as opposed to giving out of only what we have right now. Cut your bonus in half. Now, this strategy works well for any unexpected influx of cash, whether that be a bonus or a gift from grandma or a tax return. Instead of just taking all of this money, being, sweet, look at the stuff I can buy, try cutting that in half as a gift for you right now and half as a gift for future you, which will really help your ability to increase how much you can save right now. Now, most of the clients I work with want to know more than just if they're saving enough. They want a full financial picture and just to understand and trust that in their specific journey, they're doing the best they can with what they have. Now, if you're interested in a full financial picture for yourself, and just knowing that you're heading in the right direction, you can learn more about how I work with clients at the website 100fp.com. Thank you again for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.